started accounts payable concept. The accounts payable concept, it's a subledger concept. Okay, first we need to understand why we are calling accounts payable as a subledger in SAP. Okay, because accounts payable, accounts receivable, even asset accounting also subledgers. Then what is the main ledger? What is the difference between main ledger and subledger? We need to understand. Okay, so I'll give a small example here so that we can understand easily what is the difference between main ledger and subledger. Okay, now main ledger. When I say the main ledger, when we are posting a business transactions directly to the GL accounts. Okay, this we will call it as a this we will call it as a main ledger postings. See now, while preparing the financial statements, what auditors will do? The auditors will take the information from the GL accounts data. Okay, so if the GL account consists of some value, then that value either it should be a profit, either it should be asset or liability, or it's a revenue or income. Okay, from there itself they will take it. Okay, that is what the main ledger. Now, what is the subledger? Okay, why we are calling as a subledger? I will give a small example. When I say the subledger, the accounting entries are not, remember, are not directly posting to the vendor. Okay, then how we are going to post? Inside of the vendor, inside of the vendor master data, the GL account, see, the GL account will be assigned, Okay, so here what is going to happen? The main ledger will be interlinked to your vendor master data. Okay, so the inside of the vendor master data, the GL account will be assigned. Based on this, based on this combination, based on this combination, the system will post business transactions. So business transactions are nothing but your purchases or some expenses. Okay, so for vendor related transactions, okay, will post business transactions into vendor master data and your GL master data. GL master data. So in this case, what will happen? So if we want to prepare, any financial reports, we will pull the data, from from GL account which is associated with vendor master data. So meaning that what we will do, we will assign the general ledger master data into the vendor master, inside of the vendor master data. Okay, so I will give the example. Okay, before going to understand, does you people know about who is the vendor? I'm just asking you people only. Do you know who is the vendor? Why, to whom we will call as a vendor?
So when we purchase goods or service from a particular person, we call them as vendors.
Exactly, 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 ma. Very good. So now the vendor is the person. See, the vendor is the person when we buy a raw material. I mean, when we buy a something, when we buy our okay, our service, our render service from the particular person, we will call him as a vendor. So now, okay, this and all basic things. If you need more clarification, okay, you can refer it some documents in the Google. Okay, so vendor, see, I am purchasing some laptop from the shop. Okay, the shop owner is the vendor. Then I am the buyer. Okay, just I am giving the small example here. Then in case service, we talked about two things here. One is the buy, another one is a service. Service in the sense, let me say, okay, I have a small organization. Then I am rendering service from the my legal advisor. Legal advisor who will be, then lawyers are the legal advisors, or or some XYZ person. I am rendering service from the XYZ person. Okay, he is the vendor to me because he is going to provide service to me. Then I will give you a simple example. If you are working to anyone, I mean, if you are working in any business organization, you are one of the vendor. Even employees also treated as a vendors because you are providing service to that particular organization. On behalf of that service, the organization is paying the money. Okay, just keep in mind this one. Then now, now come to the subledger concept. In regular scenarios, okay, before going to discuss, then what would be the my accounting entry? In regular, in regular, in regular cases or in regular the accounting entry, okay, when we in regular cases, when we purchase the accounting entry as follow. Okay, so the accounting entry, what we will say directly, then purchase account, purchase account will be debit, simple. Then to vendor account will be credited. This is the accounting entry what we are going to return in normal scenarios. But now in SAP, remember in SAP, this is the difference between. But even in SAP, the same accounting entry will be put it like this. In SAP, the accounting entry as follow. Then accounting entry will be the same, but now as I said, this is not directly it will get posted. Okay, what will happen? It will purchase account will be directly posted. But now in order to post the vendor master data, okay, what will happen here for vendor master data? Then there is a inside the reconciliation account will be interlinked. Okay, the subledger, what will happen to the vendor here? Then reconciliation account will be interlinked. Then what I can say to that reconciliation account is a sundry. Directly the reconciliation account, it will be interlinked to that reconciliation account. What I can say, sundry sundry creditors. Okay, then we have to pay to them. So that is the reason directly it will not hit to the vendor account. Okay, then even if you select vendor master data first, I mean it will get updated your sundry creditors reconciliation account. This is the GL account. This is the main GL account. Then at the same time, it will get updated into your vendor master data. Okay. This is what it is going to happen in SAP. Then reconciliation account. Okay. It is a control account. But now how the reconciliation account will work? Okay. Remember, I'll put it. Reconciliation account. If you remember correctly, yesterday, let me keep it ready, this one. Yesterday, I have already shown you how the this one, and keep it ready. Let's see. I will show you how the reconciliation account will discuss. Fine. Now, what is mean by the reconciliation account? Remember, this is for interview point of view. This is a very important one. The reconciliation account is a balance sheet account. First of all. Okay, so then we cannot post. Okay, then the reconciliation account will be interlinked to, in this case, is a vendor master data. I will explain it. Then while creation of GL account, remember, while creation of GL account, we must select the reconciliation account type. Okay, so the reconciliation account type, when I want to create a GL account, okay, whether the GL account which will be relevant for my vendor or which will be relevant for my customer or asset, we must have to select that one. Then the important thing is that we cannot, this is the interview point. Remember, I'll put it in a bold. We cannot post direct entries to reconciliation account. So during the interview, there could be a chances they might be asked, can we able to post direct entries to the reconciliation account? Okay, see now you just remember, we cannot post direct entries to the reconciliation account. Then it will be, since it has selected, since it has created to post at backend. Okay, at system or backend. Okay, system itself will get posted. Okay, how system will post and all, we will see that one. Remember. Okay, then this is about the reconciliation. And also remember, open item management will not be applicable. Open item management option will not be applicable for reconciliation account. Then what is the purpose of the reconciliation account? I'll put it here. Just the purpose of the recon account, which will be used for further reconciliation purpose. This is the heading what you need to provide in the interview. Okay, first point number one, the reconciliation account which we can use for the further reconciliation purpose. Then the reconciliation account is a balance sheet account. Okay, all these points what I have described here, you need to explain in the interview. Then now coming to the point, subledger concept we are discussing, right? Now I will give the example. I have the vendors. In my organization, I have n number of vendors. Okay, X is there, Y is there. Okay, A, B. These are the vendor numbers. Okay, then it's a 1, 2, 3. Okay, like this, I have these many vendors are there in my organization. Let us think about now. I have the 10 vendors are there. Okay, then in this situation, what will happen for this X vendor? There is a opening balance or the business transactions, okay, related amount is a 50,000 rupees. Then this vendor is a 30,000. This vendor is a 60,000. I'm just giving the example here. Then now, like this in my organization, I have a thousands of vendors. Okay, think about the simple scenario. In this situation, now if I want to prepare the financial statements for the with help of the vendor open items. Vendor open items means which we need to make payment. Okay, yet to make the payment in future. Okay, not at this moment, maybe in future. What is the opening balance? If I would say, then this is the 3,18,000 rupees is my total balance. Now think about if I have the 1,000 vendors. Now, if I want to get the information, if I want to see all 1,000 vendors information, then the total amounts, then what I need to do? Not before preparation of the financial statements, I need to go into the system. Then I need to check each and every vendor, or else then I can give limited vendors, since if the data volume will be more, even SAP system also will not okay, will not populate the data. So then in such situation, to overcome all these situations, okay, what they have come up, no need to go and check each and every vendor. Okay, in order to identify the open items information, what they have come up, they have introduced the SAP has come up with the concept called it as a reconciliation account. This is the open balances, then reconciliation account. Then the concept of reconciliation account, how it will work, let's see. Here, what I will do, the reconciliation account, I will create the reconciliation account. I'll create one reconciliation account. Let us assume the reconciliation account, what I have described here, it's a sundry creditors account. Okay, remember sundry creditors account, since it's a liability for us. Then what I will do, I will create a 501. This is my sundry creditors. This is my sundry creditors GL account. See, sundry creditors GL account. Then what I will do, whenever I am creating the vendor master data, these sundry creditors reconciliation account, I will interlink to all these vendors. Then what I will do, while creation, then these are my vendors. Okay. Now what I will do, all these vendors are interlinked to this GL account. all vendors. Then what will happen? All vendors related data, when the business transactions are happening, when I am posting a particular transaction into this vendor master data, the same information it will update it into when it will update it to vendor, then as well as into the GL account also. So meaning that here we are not directly posting to the to this GL account. Okay, while posting we are selecting vendor master data, but now inside of the vendor master data, this we have already correlated, interlinked with this concept. Then the system will update it two things here. Okay, one is a vendor, another one is a GL account. So now individual transaction will be updated at vendor master level, but now if you see the reconciliation account, it consists of all vendors related information. Okay, so that I can directly, no need to go and check each and every vendor master. If I want to see the report directly, I will go to the reconciliation account. Then I will pull the report from the reconciliation account itself. Okay, this is the concept of subledger. Directly we are not posting. Okay, so now the moment when we post, okay, remember the moment when we post a business transaction into system, it will update two things. Then number one is a number one vendor, okay, vendor level or vendor master data will be updated. Then the second thing is that reconciliation account, reconciliation account will be updated or posted. I'll put it instead of updated, vendor master data will be posted. Then I will show you this one in the system. Okay, but now remember these two things will be happen. Okay, now here I have given the concept. Okay, here the reconciliation account. Now the next question would be, can we have a one reconciliation account, or can we have a multiple reconciliation accounts? Okay, in the real time, how the reconciliation accounts will be created? As I have given example, now I have the 10 vendors. Okay, before going to creation of the vendor master data in SAP, first you need to divide the vendor masters. Okay, you need to create the group of vendors. First vendor groups need to be created. Then after that, you can go for the vendor master creation. How vendor groups will be created? The vendor groups. Now I am grouping together vendors. Okay, how I am grouping multiple vendors? Number one is a, see now according to my requirement, then I have a domestic vendors. Domestic vendors where where the service or raw materials which are going to, okay, provide within within India. Let us assume, okay, within India, if I am going, if the service or the raw material suppliers are residing in India, then then they are the local vendors for me. Then at the same time, import vendors. Now I am importing raw materials from the outside of India. Let us assume I am purchasing the raw material from the US, okay, or from Sri Lanka. Okay, even this is also, it's a import vendors. Then I'll create, then it's a service vendors. If you want, again still divide service vendors. Then for service purpose, if you want to create separate vendors, if you want to have a separate vendor group, then you can create separate vendor group. Then the next one is that employee vendors. Employees also, as I have explained, employees also will be treated as a vendors only in every business organization, because employees will be provided service to the organization. Okay. Now, under this domestic vendors, okay, what I have created, this is a group. Under this group, I will create n number of vendors with this group. The simple logic I will give you. Now, if you are studying in a BCom, okay, let us give. Under BCom, you have a n number of students are there. Like this, we are just creating a, okay, domestic vendors, BCom, BSc, MPC, BPC. Okay, it's a group. Okay, we will say the similar way. Even here also, we are creating the separate vendors for each and every group. Okay, for domestic vendors. Okay, then what I will do, for each and every vendor group, I'm going to have a one reconciliation account. Then the reconciliation account, remember, I will mention here, note all vendor groups, all vendor groups can follow one recon account, one one reconciliation account. Remember, or each group will have a separate reconciliation account. It's a business decision. If you want to create, okay, if you want to have a separate reconciliation account for each and every group, what you can do, you can keep it like this. If you want to go by the single reconciliation, one reconciliation account, I'll put it here is the one reconciliation account for all master datas, for all vendor, for all vendor groups. Either you can follow in this way also. Then the second concept, but most of the cases in real time, it will not be the same. Just for our, so how it will be there in real time? Then see now, put it here is the multiple, multiple, okay, individual, individual reconciliation account for each vendor group. If this is the case, then what I will do, for this group, I will create a separate vendor, separate reconciliation account for this group. Either you can follow which one is feasible for you, but most of the cases that in real time, this will be the scenario. This vendor group has separate recon account. This group will have a separate reconciliation account. This group will have the separate reconciliation account, because each and every group will have the separate reconciliation account. This is it is up to the organization decision whether they will follow single reconciliation account or multiple reconciliation account. But this is the one in real time scenario. Okay, most of the cases this will be the suggested business scenario. Okay, now we have discussed about the, okay, concept of subledger and how the reconciliation, what is the reconciliation account, okay, how it will be useful for business. Okay, now let us go to the configuration. Okay, before going to configuration, if anyone will have any further query, so please let me know. Let me show you that how the reconciliation account will be interlinked into your master data. Before going to start, at least just keep in mind this one. First, as I said, the reconciliation account is a balance sheet account, right? Then is 01. Okay, so now let me show you. 501. See, sundry creditors. Okay, then I have created this is the real account. First, we need to understand, as I mentioned, this is the balance sheet account, sundry creditors account. The main differentiation would be this we must have to select. See now, this we must have to select here as a vendor. Okay, then this is the differentiation. Okay, when you are creating the reconciliation account, then this is clear, right? This GL account we have created for as a reconciliation account. Now, how this will be interlinked to the master data? Okay, K03. Let me show you any one of the master data. Now you can see here. This is my vendor master data. This vendor master data has been created under this company code. Now see, the reconciliation account has been interlinked into the vendor master data. The similar way we need to create vendors also. Okay, this is what the interrelationship between your recon account and as well as vendor master data. Okay, let me go back here. Now coming to the configuration point of view. Then what are the steps to be required in order to do the configuration? Then from number one is a create vendor account group. Vendor account groups, as I have already explained the above. Okay. Then then the second thing is that, okay, I will create vendor account groups. Let us decide now itself what are the groups we are going to create. Okay, Z001 is my, I'll copy from the above. Okay, the same information, domestic vendors, import vendors, and employee vendors. I'll copy this information. The same group I will use. Okay. First, let us check. Okay, Z001, Z002, Z003, Z004. What we are going to create? We are going to create a vendor group with these names. Okay. Now the second step, what is the second step would be create number ranges. Create number ranges for vendor accounts. Then when I am creating creating the vendor master data. Each and every vendor need to create separate number. Okay, like this. This is my vendor number. Okay, so now with this number I have created. Okay, I have given all the information. This number will be generated by the system, or we need to key manually. Remember. Okay. So now for that, I'm going to have a separate or individual number range for each and every group. Then this is the group. Okay. Then what I will do, then let's see in the system, okay, whether we can use any existing number range or we can create new number range. Okay, we'll create one by one. We'll go for the creation itself. Action, SPRO, financial accounting, accounts receivable, accounts payable, vendor accounts, master data, preparations. Now you can see here, define account groups with screen layouts. Now I am creating the vendor groups here. Let's see, Z001. Nothing is there. We can create vendor account groups. Click on inventories, Z001. Then what I have written here is the domestic vendors. Then there is a concept in SAP, one-time vendor account, one-time account. We will discuss about, I will give brief explanation about this one also. Okay, later I will create one more group for that one. Then click on company code data. Again, this is the field status group. Then in the field status group, it controls while creation of a vendor master data, which field should be required field, which field should be display, which field should be suppress mode. Okay, if I go inside of this one, account management, for when I am creating the vendor master data, the reconciliation account is a required field. Where you can see here, the field status group, it consists of 4 options. One is a suppress, another one is a required, optional, and display. Okay, so now let me save this one, then I will explain you. Creation of number ranges itself. While creation of vendor master, we have to choose which fields are required. Creation of vendor master. Okay, we need to find out at the time of vendor master creation, which fields are required. Remember, which fields are required, optional, and suppress. Okay, if you can see here, optional, suppress, and display. Okay, so now these are the options which are available, which you need to decide, it will control. Okay, the fields will control for master data, okay. Then what it will do, when we are going to create a master data, vendor master data, it will control Okay, which fields are required, which fields are does not required. Then now here the reconciliation account which I want to require. Okay, for that is the reason I have selected. I have created one vendor master data. Then the same I am just copying, change the group Z002. Then here is the import vendors, because since already I have copied 002, 003 is the service vendors, then save it. Then the next one is employee vendors, employee vendors. Then as we discussed, I'm going to create the new vendor group for the one-time vendor Z005. One-time vendor. Let me go and create separate group for the Z005. I'll put it as a one-time vendor. When we are creating one-time vendor, we must select this option. Okay, one-time account. Then I will explain you in the Excel sheet. I will okay. Then the purpose of the one-time vendor. Okay, let me give you the small example. Now I am dealing a business. There is a business requirement. Okay, then the urgency is there. Okay, the raw material which I want to. There is a. I am purchasing raw material from Singapore, but now I do not have the sufficient raw material. Okay, but now I am manufacturing a one product. Then that product, near to end of the stage. Okay, maybe if I work 1 or 2 days, then the product will come output. But now I would require is some raw material. Okay, so now if I ordered the raw material now, I will get the material from the Singapore. Maybe it may take another 10-15 days. Okay, but now and also at the same time, I would require only the some only the limited quantity of the raw material in order to complete my process. In such situation, what I will do, the same material will be supplied by the some other vendor, some other local vendor. Then in such situation, what I will do, I will, as part of emergency basis, then I will approach to the local vendor, then I will buy the raw material, okay, in order to fulfill my requirement. Here, what is happening? I am dealing business with that particular vendor only one time only. In future, I do not want to do business with that vendor. Okay. In such cases, maybe I am doing multiple things in a day. Okay. With different vendors only one time. I'm just for time being, I'm approaching to that vendor. I'm buying the raw material, then that's it. In future, no dealing with that particular vendor. Then to avoid the multiple vendors creation, because if I want to create every day I'm dealing with one time vendors, like every day 100 transactions. What will happen if I want to create 100 vendors every day in the system? Again, that is not the correct way. Even the data volume will be increased unnecessarily, okay, in the system. In order to control such situations, what SAP has given the concept to call it as a one-time vendor. Then by using one-time vendor, you can post n number of business transaction, okay, in daily or however you want. But remember, you must have to specify the vendor number from whom you are purchasing. The address details are mandatory. Okay, because how you can differentiate? Today I'm dealing with X vendor, tomorrow Y vendor, but both are one time vendors only. Okay, in order to identify the information, we must have to key the address information over there. Vendor number, address information, we must have to key while posting the business transaction. We will see that one in the system. That is the concept of one-time vendor. Okay, then now create the number ranges. Let me go back. Create number ranges for vendor accounts. When I now go here, now already the number ranges are created. Okay, Z1 is not there. We'll create for each and every group is Z1. Okay, the similar I will choose from the drop down. Which one is available now? I'll choose this number. 4999. Okay, so now you can see here, even this is whether it will be internal number or external number. Okay, it should be internal number. Z1. I'll create is a Z2. 6 digits, right? Okay, 1 2 3 4 5. Then so overlapping because already the number range which is already exist. And I'll take this one. 500, 599. Okay, fine. Enter. Let me create it a Z3. 6, 10. And it is overlapping. Let's see. 3 3 7 digits again. Okay. Now it will accept. Z3 I have created. Z4. Z5. I will create one more. Z5. So now all number ranges has been created for each and every group. Okay, but most of the cases for one-time vendor in real time, they will create only one number. Okay, they will not create multiple numbers. Okay, just for your information. Okay, from number and a two number, it should be the same. Okay, but okay, so now only one number will be there here. Okay, the same number can be repetitively used. Please enter the from number. Okay, the interval changes have been saved, only one number. Let me go back. Then assign number ranges to the vendor account groups. Then come down, whatever the vendor groups we have created, Z001, Z002, here, all you can see here. Then I will assign Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4, Z5, I will assign. See, all the number ranges has been assigned. The next step, create number ranges. Then assign number ranges to assign number ranges to vendor account groups. Okay, what we have done, we have created the vendor number ranges also. Then what number ranges we have created? Let me go here. Create number ranges, just display that. See, now these are the number ranges what we have created here. Okay, just for your information, I will just make a summary at the end. Number ranges, these are the number ranges what we have created. Then assign number ranges to the vendor master data. For each and everything we have already interlinked. Now these are my vendor groups. Then for all these groups, what we have done, we have created we have assigned the vendor groups number ranges. Now I have interlinked. Now the next one is that define tolerance groups for the vendor. Define tolerance groups for vendors. Okay, about the tolerance group, I have already explained in detail in the previous sessions. If you want, you can just refer it. Go back. SPRO. Financial accounting, accounts receivable and accounts payable, business transactions, outgoing payments, then manual outgoing payments. Define tolerance for the vendor here. I think we have already defined, but let's see. Give the company code. Z0 SG is our company code. Okay, not yet defined. Don't give any group and all, tolerance group and all. Okay, then put it here in the tolerance group of Z0 SG company code just for identification. Enter. Come back. Then create GL masters. Okay. Now the next one is that create now creation of create GL masters. GL masters. Okay. Then what GL accounts we are going to create? One is for the I mean, okay, let us create sundry creditors. Okay, GL create reconciliation GL masters. In this GL masters creation, I will create a reconciliation accounts and as well as one is service related entry. Remember, since we are not going to post any accounting entries which are relevant for material purchases. Okay, I am not going to post any entries which are relevant for material purchases into finance, because if you want to do such postings which are relevant for material purchases, then we have a separate module. It is there, that is the material management. Then the material management need to integrate with finance, then only we can able to post the entries. But now those quantities related information we cannot post in FI. The information need to post into material management. Then the final accounting information need to inflow to the accounts finance only. Okay, just for your information. Okay, directly we cannot post any purchase related entries into FI. Just keep in mind. Then creation of GL masters. Now I will create reconciliation account. One is the sundry creditors, reconciliation. Reconciliation account. As we discussed here, the reconciliation accounts, how we need to create. These are the reconciliation accounts. Okay, I'll create one more group here is the one-time vendor. Then If you want, you can follow. Then I'll create as a separate group for that. Okay, but now, as I mentioned, this is the possible scenario in real time. Then I'm going to create the reconciliation accounts. These are the reconciliation accounts. Okay, then I'll put it simple thing, domestic vendors. Full thing, you just copy. Okay, for your domestic vendors, this is the group what you are going to use. Okay, now these are the reconciliation account which we are going to create. Let me create the reconciliation account first. Just make sure that the company code. Okay, this is our company code. Then the reconciliation account 501. Okay, what I want to create. Then with the template, I'll use the with template option 500. Okay, then the same, enter, then come here. So sundry, you just change the name here. Okay, sundry creditors, domestic, domestic, domestic purchases. Then select the balance sheet account. It should be liability only. Come to the control data. See, now let me do one thing. Let me select vendors. I have selected is a open item management option. Let's see what system will say. Okay, I just have entered even though system is allowing, but while saving, let's see. Then the field status group must be G067 for reconciliation accounts. Remember, let's see, as I mentioned already, the open item management does not applicable for the reconciliation account. Let's see what system will say. See now, open item management is not defined for the reconciliation accounts. The data contains error. System is giving the error message. We should not select this option. Select this one, then save it. Now data is being saved. Okay, the reconciliation account for the domestic what we have created. Here for our scenario, because the length of the GL account we have considered is a 10 digits. So that is the reason I'm giving the 10-digit GL account number. Okay. Then we'll continue the session further on Monday. This will be the this will be the 2. Okay. Then this will be the 3, 4. This will be the 5. Like that, we will create the reconciliation accounts. Okay, we will continue the session Monday.